Hey, hey, hey. Sheridan. Am I pronouncing it right? Sheridan?
It
How are you, Sherry?
is. I'm well. How about you?
I'm good. Do people call you Sherry or they just call you Sheridan? What is your nickname?
Nay.
Nay? Yeah,
Nothing related to Sheridan.
I understand. I guess it is kind of not. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. But yeah.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so funny. Well, look, I was just asking. At least now I know we don't know.
Right.
Well, I first want to say thank you for taking time to hop on a call with me. I really appreciate you
No problem.
to give your time to have some conversations about mental health. Um,
Right.
how long have you been doing what you've been doing? You
I've
can
been in the mental
introduce
health
yourself.
field.
Introduce
Hmm?
yourself. I said, go ahead and introduce yourself and let them know what we got going on here.
Oh, for sure. I'm so used to just going off and talking, but of course, Sheridan McNeely, and what I do is small business consults or whatever. But my main thing is mental health, and previously owned a behavioral health counseling agency and dealing with mental health. I've been in mental health for about 10 years,
Mhm.
and it's something that's near and dear to me because I've suffered with mental health issues. So being able to overcome those issues, I was like, you know what, this is where I want to be, this is what I need to be in, this is my ministry. So that in its turn, led me to start my agency and just really be an advocate for mental health. And now I'm more so seeing that a lot of us entrepreneurs aren't talking about mental health being an entrepreneur. So
Mhm.
I'm gearing towards that, and that's what just got me, on this big advocacy about mental health.
Wow, that's so awesome. So awesome. So people always ask me, so I'm sure that will be your next question.
Right?
So I'm Tashina Calhoun. I'm the founder of One Belief Organization, and we have a project called Mental Health is Great Wealth. So
Mm-hmm.
One Belief Organization is an organization that's about mental health awareness and emotional
Right?
intelligence. So the organization as a whole addresses mental health. We have our mini schools One Belief initiative where we focus on
Mm-hmm.
kids. And we teach them positive ways of dealing with anger. We talk about positive affirmations and self-care, but we also do the same things with adults because we
Right.
realize that people don't know these things, and they don't know really how to be emotionally intelligent. And so what we
Oh,
end up
wow.
having, yeah, what we end up having is like adults who are not emotionally intelligent raising children who are not emotionally intelligent as well. And so that
Yes.
cycle continues to repeat. Um,
Yes.
how we started was a couple years ago. My daughter was at school and I got a
Mm-hmm.
phone call and the school was on lockdown. It was from one of the other mothers and she's like, "Are you on your way to school?" And
Okay.
I'm like, no, Bree, it's like 10 o'clock on a Friday morning. For what?
Right.
And
Right. No.
a couple more hours. And she was like, "There's a kid on campus with a gun."
Wow.
Like my daughter was in the first grade at the time and my heart just sank. Like I like tears came flooding to my eyes
Mm,
that I had to get to her. The first things that came to mind, I mean, she's in the first grade, so if there's another child, it's a baby on campus with a gun, not
right.
knowing what they're doing. So I just dropped everything that I had going on at that moment, and I just knew that I had to get to her. Now, once I got to her, the school had already secured the campus, and I've
Mm-hmm.
been in education for years, so I know the protocol. But it's like when it's your child, protocol just goes out the window.
It doesn't, yeah.
Yeah,
No.
none of that matters. So I got there, and like I said, I'm there frequently, so they know my face. They're like, "You're here for Faith," and I'm like, "Yes." And my daughter is about your complexion. She's a little bit lighter than me,
Mm-hmm.
about your complexion. And they brought her out, and her face was just red. And
Red.
like, "Mommy, the teacher was trying to keep us safe, and the kids wouldn't be quiet, and she was crying, and I didn't like that drill."
Ooh,
And she just like she really thought it was a drill. It wasn't.
wow.
And it was just like that weekend. I mean, granted, I always been telling my children, we always do different little family things, but that weekend was just so different uh,
Right.
for me. That Sunday morning, like, God woke me up super early. I'm always up early, but I was up super early. And I had like all these thoughts and phrases and visions in my head. I
Right.
was like, okay, so you're like trying to tell me something. I don't know. So I got up, I went to my desk and got a Sharpie. It was a red Sharpie. That's the only thing I had. And I grabbed some papers off the printer and started writing everything down. And once I finished, the page was full with all these words and phrases. And then what stood out to me was many schools, countless lives, one belief.
Mm,
And so I was like, okay, so I need to do something. And it was like, what is that one belief? It's like the one
Right.
belief of safety, the one belief of mental health awareness, the one belief of keeping schools safe. And at this point, the way people are shooting up things, keeping churches safe or our public
Right.
places safe. So it's just a mission that got placed on my heart to talk to people and bring awareness and shed light on the situation. Because if we
Right.
can teach kids, if we can teach adults, if we can bring awareness so people know and we're a little bit more educated, I mean, when we
Hmm.
know better, when it comes to mental health, we do better, right? So I then started looking at classes, took certifications to be a mental health first aid responder and things of that
Right.
nature, and just educating myself. So what I do, I go out into the community, we have classes, we just talk about mental health awareness and emotional intelligence,
Right.
positive affirmation, self-care, just things that we need in our everyday lives to be okay emotionally and mentally.
Right.
So that's a little bit, probably a little bit more of a.
No, no, no. You're good. Like it's good to hear you're willing to go out because you have a lot of people, especially coming from our backgrounds, but in the Black community and in our culture, it's taboo because we don't speak about something that's actually wrong with me, something I can't really just express what is going on with me. And when you go to an elder, within the Black community, they want to send you to church. They
Oh,
want to send you to your pastor and they want to let somebody pray for you. However, as a child, you're like, I don't need prayer. I need you to hear me. I need someone to listen. I need to talk. I need to cry. I need to feel. And it's where ain't nothing wrong with you. You ain't no crazy. So
so
knowing that there
sweet.
are knowing that there are those of you out there are willing to get out and crusade for it, it's like it's something bigger than us. And a lot of people, like I said, I always go to our community because I serviced, low income.
Mm.
And it was something that I would see. I would go into these homes and I would get so upset, sad, and all of my emotions just come out. And I could service the kid and I could make good money off of this, but at the same time I would grab the whole household,
Yeah.
because clearly if the school has contacted me or the juvenile system has contacted me about this child, then clearly something in this home or someone in this home is affecting this child, which is causing this child to react the way that they are reacting.
Yeah.
And I would get the whole family. And when you would get the whole family, then you would find out the source of the issue. And that mother, that caregiver, whomever has this child, has deep trauma within them emotionally and psychologically, that they are reacting whatever it is upon this child, and this child is then reacting and taking it to the schools, taking it to wherever they are and behaving the way they're behaving. So in our community and in our culture, it's not as deemed, go in and get you some psychological help, go get you a therapist, go get you a counselor. It's like, go to church and go sit down and watch TV.
Well, no, you're right. That's how it's been for so long. Really, just not allowing ourselves to have these conversations of vulnerability
Hmm.
and to even admit that there's something wrong. It takes a
Hmm.
strong person to admit when something is wrong. So when you have the elderly of our generation that's
Right.
carrying these traumas with them, and they're not having these conversations, and they're having this erratic behavior, and the
Hmm.
person on the receiving end is not aware, like they're like, "What is going on?"
Right.
No, we have two different generations here trying to get along emotionally,
That's it.
and they're
That's
colliding
it.
and
Right.
colliding. So,
Right. And that's something I saw so often. The generations before us, all they knew, was of course to go to church, and they probably just beat the mess out of us and tell us to go outside and go sit down. But what I've been seeing so much is that, a lot of these kids are truly want someone to listen.
mm,
Just listen to me. I know it might not sound, you know, whatever words you might want to come up with, but these kids just want somebody to listen. So for you being an advocate and getting out into the community and creating one belief, that's something I'm like, You get
I
it?
I just love it. Like, I cannot wait for us to be in more schools and have more times and opportunity with kids. Like, we just really have a blast. Some of them,
Right.
they're really receptive and they're all in it and they're truly engaged. And others
Hmm.
try a little bit more, but I know that they hear it and they're listening and they're getting it. We're giving the material. So I'm just, I'm just being obedient. If you would have
Right.
asked me a few years ago, like what was goals or dreams, our aspirations, this is something awesome that I'm doing, but it wasn't something that I was working towards. So it's like
Right.
I was given something, a task, and I'm being obedient and I'm running with it. And I'm so grateful that this task
Keep
has been given to me.
doing it. Right. Keep doing it. And I guess kind of segue into what I'm talking about as far as with entrepreneurs. In entrepreneurship, we want to look strong. We
Mhm.
want to look as if we have it put together. We want to look as if everything is smooth on the surface, and we're just, we got it.
We got it together. We're living our best entrepreneur life.
Right? No, we're not. We're not.
Falling
Like
apart over
you
here, falling apart over
right. And as if you just said, you have some people who are receptive to what we may do as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. And then you have some people who are just like, no, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to know about it.
Mhm.
So here's what going into me. After losing my business in 2017, that sent me in a downward spiral
Mhm.
because I wanted to teach. My goal was to teach those who were around me what I had learned. I had a guy who taught me a lot of stuff, gave me a wealth of knowledge. He was a Black millionaire. Now you have a Black millionaire that teach you business, that teach you mental health, that teach you the ins and outs. And I'm like, yo, I soaked that up. And I was like, I wanted to give this to everybody. I wanted to embrace everybody with it. Like, this is a Black millionaire and he's a Black man. When
Yeah.
he would walk into rooms, people would stop.
Wow.
Like, I want that power, you know. But he was also a licensed counselor,
Mhm.
and for me to watch him in business meetings and amongst those, his colleagues and everyone else, it was like, yo, he has a power that I hadn't seen many Black men have, and I wanted to teach that.
Wow.
But when I started wanting to teach it, I hadn't realized that I hadn't done the full work within in
Mm.
order for me to teach it to someone else.
Okay.
I just jumped in head first. I just jumped in head first and just got to it. Just got hit the ground running. I know how to do this. I'm gonna teach this. I'm gonna show people this. And
I'm
God
learning
was
on the
like,
way.
right? God was like, nah, I'm gonna teach you first. I have to take you through it before I let you teach someone else through it.
Wow.
So I lost my business in 2017. I lost a substantial amount of money. Everybody that was around me, I was pouring into, was taken. They was taken from me, and it broke me. It mentally, spiritually, emotionally, it just broke me down.
Mhm.
But through those 2 years, God said, look, I'm gonna show you this, and I want you to see it, but I want you to keep it.
Mhm.
You know how hard it is to be an entrepreneur. You see everybody making money and making moves, and you like, I want to get out there. I want to make some money. I tried.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
tried. I tried to still make money. I still tried to. I wasn't obedient as you are. I was just like, God, I want some money. I'm gonna get out here.
Can I say something really quick? I don't want you to
Go
lose
ahead.
your mind, but it's like we have to be obedient. Everything has their due process and season, right? And it's like the you've heard the story about the baker's man. If you
Mm-hmm.
have it.
Go ahead.
So, well, just to kind of summarize it, it's
Mm-hmm.
like you have the ingredients, right?
Right.
You got your cake, you got your batter, you
Right.
got your flour, you got your sugar, you got your eggs, right? We have to put all those things together. If we sit all those things together right now, what happens next? We sit it together and the cake bakes itself?
No,
What
not
happens?
at all. You gotta mix them ingredients. You gotta get it in.
We gotta beat them. You get that thing. It has to be beaten together. It
Right.
has to be beaten together in order for it to blend. And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
like we don't want to go through that in between ugly stage. It's like we just
Mm-hmm.
want to put them together and boom, voila, magic. And it's like, okay, guys.
Right.
It ain't working. But we
Right.
have to go through that, and if we put it in the oven, once we got it beaten, then we got to go in the oven process. We got to be baked.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
have to go through the
Mhm.
baking process, and it gets hot. It gets hot
Yes.
and uncomfortable, but then in that heat and that place of uncomfortability, you stretch, the cake expands and it grows and it forms to the pan and it rises to what it's supposed to be.
Yes.
At the appropriate time, we can take it out,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So I think it's beautiful that you said that, because with like you just saying you wanted it then, and I guess as entrepreneurs, we have to understand that part is everything's a part of the process.
Yes.
So
That
it's
is
awesome you had the ability to be trained and mentored by someone of that capacity and that caliber.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's so rare. Especially to be able to have a supportive mentor who's able and willing to share. Not everybody wants to share.
Yes. No.
That's another thing. Everybody walking around with their hands open with the other hand closed. We don't want to share.
Right. That is true. And that's what I ran into, and it just I mean, it just got me stuck. I was stuck. I'm like, God, but you gave it to me. I was like, I gave it to you, but I didn't tell you to touch it yet. I didn't tell you it was still in the oven. Like you said, it was still baking.
So thank you.
And I wanted to touch it. I wanted to pull it out, and I wanted to cut it and taste it and see how it was gonna be. And God had to take me through,
Wow.
I mean a season. And he had to take me through a season, and I couldn't touch anything.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of entrepreneurs are not willing to go through those seasons. And
Mm-hmm.
even if they do go through those seasons, they aren't aware that it's okay. It's okay to be in those seasons, because sometimes you have to truly grow in what you were trying to do or what God has given you to do.
Mm-hmm.
And being at that position of having to, I just encountered it all. So to encounter it all and to finally get to this place to even just be talking to you, because honestly, I just swore off I wasn't going to even bother with it. I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to teach it. I'm not going to talk about mental health. I was so burned by it.
Mm-hmm.
But for you to ask me about it, I'm like, okay, God, you've been giving this to me the last month to talk about it and to finally just start putting in motion what you've given me.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are. But to give you, I'm gonna let you talk more and ask me more questions. But I just want entrepreneurs who are in a space, especially with the state we are in right now,
Yeah.
to fully come to self terms and say, hey, look, I need to talk. I need to really, really know who I am before I can move forward and where I want to go or where I'm supposed to go.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You got a little one there.
She opened the door. We okay?
Yeah, my daughter went there turned TV. I'm like, yeah, I'm recording in here, and then the light went off. But it's all good.
Right. Look, that's something else we need to talk about as an entrepreneurship. Staying sane right now with the kids.
Yeah, it's all good. But we work under any conditions. So let's
Right.
talk about entrepreneurship and mental health. So
Mm-hmm.
we already kind of somewhat addressed, the where you're at in your process and understanding
Mm-hmm.
that there is a process, and sometimes we have to
Right.
go through some things, or in other cases, grow through some things. So
Ooh.
let's talk about mentally the impacts of what we're experiencing right now, and not even right now, just in general, the impacts that entrepreneurship can have mentally on an entrepreneur. That's it.
Um, I've been, lurking in the shadows on social media, then it's dealing with a lot of people who are contacting me about entrepreneurship and just the movement of how they should move. And in all honesty, I want to just tell them, don't. I know it seems as if, wow, I got to pay my bills. The government knows you has to pay, you have to pay your bills. However, right now at this point and at this time, God is saying, I need you to know me. And knowing me is knowing self. And when you're able to know self, you're able to move. Look at her. She turning it up loud.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. To know.
But
Yeah, sorry.
you're good. I see a lot of entrepreneurs are looking at the loans that they're giving and looking at all of the stuff that they're saying that we can qualify for.
Mhm.
However, I want to ask a lot of entrepreneurs, what if the government deny you access to these loans? What if they deny you access to what they've created for a higher level of individuals? Then what are you going to do? Are you going to sink down and say, God, this not for me? Or are you going to say, God, I know you gave this to me, so clearly I know you are the one who is going to elevate me in this? And mentally, a lot of entrepreneurs are saying, what am I doing? How am I doing it? How am I going to make it? How are you making it before?
Mm.
How are you making it before? Because you weren't relying on the government loan. You weren't relying on government assistance. It was all in your ability to mentally create what it is that you were doing. So staying stable mentally is what's really going to keep you afloat and where you need to be. Also checking yourself emotionally.
Yeah.
Check in with yourself. So that's why I'm saying, where entrepreneurs should be right now, checking in with self and saying, hey, if I created this, I can continue to create. I can continue to move forward. I can continue to stand strong, and I can continue to say, I got this. So
Yeah.
that's why I feel like should be mentally.
Yeah. Okay. And that makes sense. I mean, because we have to remember that there's different ways of going about business. So like, my other business as a photographer,
Mm-hmm.
it does pose a little bit of a challenge as far as how we taking pictures. I saw people like taking pictures from the porch. I saw somebody do. It's just like, do you want to integrate these different things into your business, or do we just sit and just wait? Because
Integrate.
nothing wrong with just sitting and waiting. We sit and we wait, and we be creative and come up with other ways to produce more content, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I think right now at this point in time, it's just being open to the other possibilities, if any. But at the same time, if there's not, then you just sit patiently and you get to know yourself more and explore yourself more and kind of figure out ways you can put yourself in your business. You have to be a part of
Mm-hmm.
every piece of your business. Maybe you had some things that weren't systems that were not in place in your business prior to this, right?
Right,
I feel
right,
like it's the opportune time to get this in place,
right.
to get that house in order, to get the foundation right.
I'm
So
glad you said that.
yes, I mean, because we have to have systems in place. So there's so many different things, whether it's your website, whether you have like a client management system that you have, or you don't have one. You've been using Google. Because I know before I even had a client management system, I was using Google Documents, and that's fine. But there's so many platforms out there where you can do electronic contracts,
Mm-hmm.
you can automate things, and these are things that are help make your business, your small business, run more efficiently. So it's like, if we're able to take the time and just look at it as the glass half full rather than half empty, we can implement systems in place so that when this is over with, we can come out on the other side operating a little bit more smoothly in the business, the small business that we do have, which will help reduce the stress and help reduce the things that we experience mentally and emotionally for ourselves as entrepreneurs.
I'm gonna go back, and I didn't expert in what you piggyback off what you're saying. When I started my business, I started in a 675 square foot office space,
Mm-hmm.
and I was the only employee. And
Okay.
I sat there one day, and I was like, God, I have to do this. How do I do it?
Mm-hmm.
And the paperwork, and everything just started flowing. Within a 9-month time span, I went from a 675 square foot office space to a 2,000 square foot office space. I went from one employee to 50. You
Girl,
want
9 months.
to and nine. You want to know how I did it?
Wow.
And I took that time to truly learn self.
Wow.
I bust my butt. It was all a matter of I am the creator. And
Mm.
when I told myself I am, I
Wow.
became what I wanted. When
Wow.
I said I am the business, I
Mhm.
am the business. When we are fully in tuned into self, we understand our I am. So when I realized, you know what, I have to do this because I am my business. When everything happened at the end of my business and everything, transpired on the end of it, I had a few people who were antagonizing me and just, yeah, you lost it. But when I thought about it, I said, I am my business. I'm the business. You didn't take anything from me. The only thing I lost was a building, baby, and a bill.
Yeah.
That's all I lost. So what that did for me, that allowed me to go back and say, this is where you left this out. This is what you forgot about. This is what you made that mistake on. Now I have systems that are in place. So when I do move into a larger square foot office space,
3,000 feet.
you know what I'm saying? I'm coming bigger. I now know how to move effectively and efficiently.
Wow.
So right now where people are, they have to take that in stride and say, hey, okay, that's just a go to say. I know one thing that I didn't do, one thing I didn't have in place, I didn't have a payroll system in place.
Okay.
And once I got that payroll system in place, it was a large scale payroll system. And I was like, you know what? When everything failed, that payroll system saved me because the way they did paperwork, the way they did my taxes, the way they took everything and broke it down. I only owed the IRS maybe $3,000.
Okay.
But if I hadn't have had that in place, who knows how much I would have gotten in trouble with the IRS. So taking this time right now, I'm not saying sit still. I'm saying learn who you are, where you are, and where you are trying to go. And create those processes and those systems in order to do it. I've had, hard time on it, but we all are able to. Can you go in?
Yeah, and it's just like that. It's just a part of life. So we just have to be mindful when dealing with those hardships that come in life. So,
Yeah.
so just to kind of recap, as our last couple of minutes here, because I didn't want to keep you too long. I totally want to be respectful of your time because I'm grateful you're able to hop on with me. Just
Okay.
a recap. If we wanted to summarize 3 things from our call as it pertains to entrepreneurship and mental health, what are the 3 takeaways that you want to leave us with today?
Learn your I am.
Mm-hmm.
Learn your I am. When you speak your I am, then it becomes. So when you learn your I am in business, I am, stable. I am whatever it is in your field, the way you are. Then you will start manifesting, and you'll believe more in what you have and where you are going.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the second thing, to be confident in your products, confident in what you are believing God has given you to be an entrepreneur as or with or whatever it may be. And I want to say the third thing, stand tall in it. Don't waver. Don't waver. We all going through a test, just like the palm trees. It'll bend, but it don't break.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, people all like when you said the I am, I think that's beautiful because people always focus on the why you're doing something. Focus on the why, and the why is good. We do need to know
Mm-hmm.
why, but I think that we don't ever focus on the I am either. Not
Mm-mm.
everybody. So I think
Mm-mm.
that's awesome that you said that. I love it that you said that. So I'm grateful that you said that. So in the future, so as you support entrepreneurs, what type of support do you provide currently? I know that you said you closed down the practice for the mental health that you had.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you have going on currently? Like so if people need to reach out or how can people connect? What do you have going on currently?
Currently, I'll be so honest.
I
I
at the house currently.
I'm just here, right? But if people would like to, I do small business consults. So basically, what I do, I'll look at your background. I love administration. That's my go-to thing. So I love to sit and say, okay, hey, this is how you can create this system. This is how you can create this process. This is how you can expand and elevate your business from these areas. That is what I do, especially with the small business consults. I don't do anything as far as financial. I can teach how to do credit building with business. It's a little tedious, but I love doing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I am. As far as contacting me, of course, on Instagram, $1 Million Strategist. I'll be honest and upfront and say I am just kind of free flowing right now because as God moved me, it's like I'm going to go with the flow. If people want to contact me, I am $1 Million Strategist on Instagram. That's the only social media I have. If you want to email me, it's SheridanMcNeely@gmail.com. Email me from that. But
All
I'm
right.
simple right now.
Cool. Well, I thank you so much for hopping on, and I thank the viewers for watching. So you guys can check us. Mental Health is Great Wealth. That's where our stories are at. Sheridan had an awesome story. That's my next person coming on. Say hey though. She's so early. Hey Amber. It's all good. So yes, at Mental Health is Great Wealth, and then One Belief Organization for the organization as a whole. So thank you so much, Sheridan.
No problem.
And I'm gonna hop on this other call with Amber.
Good. Yeah, see y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.